Done. Good to go.
Welcome, everyone. I'm sure you all are very excited to hear our workshop on techniques to partner with parents. And we have a very, very learned resource who would be conducting this workshop. And it is my privilege to welcome Dr. Rajalaxmi Shriram, who will be conducting the workshop Techniques to Partner with Parents, a step towards optimal child development. What should I, how should I introduce such a eminent personality? A head of the department and professor emeritus at the Department of Human Development and Family Studies, at Center of Advanced Studies at the MS University, Baroda, in her career spanning 35 years as a rigorous academician, she has sought to enrich her discipline through her engagement in basic and applied research. She brings a deeply human dimension to all her work interactions, and she has a will to integrate her ideals and learning from working in the social development arena into her daily technical know-how of higher education. Dr. Shriram has been associated with the Forum for Creche and Childcare Services and Alliance for Early Childcare and Development since its inception. She has been instrumental in starting a network called Shishu Palak Vim, Childcare Provider Association at local level, and has engaged in several activities to reach out to parents and early childhood educators. A special focus has been on understanding the Indian father's contributions to children's lives and engage in a variety of interventions to promote father involvement in the child rearing. She has even published two sets of books engaging in social interventions, a great resource for learners and trainers, and Fathering in India, Images and Realities, unravels the emerging father in India. As I request Dr. Rajalaxmi Shriram to take center stage, I would just like to reiterate the objectives of the workshop, which are understanding participants' views on parent involvement, the how and why of it. And Dr. Rajalaxmi Shriram was very kind enough to share a Google form which we had shared with all of you. And she too has already taken most of the participants' feedback on what their opinion was about it. So the first part, and she wants to develop a clear collective view on what we mean by partnership with parents. When we say we want to partner with parents, where do we come from? And also to get oriented to emerging approaches to communicate and partner with parents. But her focus will be, yes, on the father as a key partnering parent and the ways to partner him. I now request Dr. Rajalaxmi Shriram to take and lead us through this very interesting workshop. I am raring to go and listen to it. I am sure you all are. Now, just before she starts, there is a question and answer box. So please put your questions in the small bubble which has a question on it. So after the session, we'll be able to address it. Thank you very much. And over to you, Dr. Rajalaxmi Shriram.
Thank you, AECD and dear Swati, for those very, very kind words. And what I want to tell you now is forget about all that scholarship and all the things that Swati mentioned. You know, there are things that you have to write, and I didn't think that she would say somewhere she has to publish. So I gave it to her. But here it is a connect between you and me from the heart. Okay, from the heart. In the afternoon earlier section, Devdachi said, चित्त है, emotions है, फिर वो सारे कोश है, तो पहले तुम्हारे senses को enliven करो, फिर तुम्हारे emotions को enliven करो, फिर बुद्धि तक पहुंचो, क्योंकि ultimately, when you really work spontaneously, buddhi, you know, you develop wisdom and intuitive wisdom. That's what we call. And that is, ये सब जब integrate होके head, heart, hand सारे साथ में काम करते हैं. That is what it is. And therefore, I hope I'm able to reach you and motivate you at that level. It's a workshop, but since it's virtual, we will have a mix of methods. So can you have the presentation on, please? Swati, can you share screen? I've given it to the tech people, so.
So there is one video which I have to share.
No, not first. I will tell you when to share the video. First presentation.
Okay.
Yeah. You will have to scroll it a little up because the whole presentation is not visible. Whole slide is not visible. Yeah, little wider. Okay, it's fine. Is this fine for everybody? Okay, now go to the first slide. See, first we did a review, and I'm happy to share that till evening, about 118 to 119 participants had responded. And it's a great thing. I'm so happy that you're also active in this. And what I came to know from this, go to the next slide, please. Next slide. Am I audible? Because that's the survey results, and you'll be keen to see that. Is there a problem? Yeah, so if you look at current parent involvement levels, we know that the first slide hasn't come, which is about survey results. So it is like moderate 48%, but in the evening when I looked at it, had turned out to be 52%, and slightly more or less than moderate had reached 24 and 22%. Very low is even less. I said 7%, and it's gone down to about 5%, and very high is 2%. So we think that currently parents are moderately involved, and we want to improve their levels of involvement. Go to the next slide. Bhupendra, are you there?
More involved with the
Yeah, who's more involved with the child?
What
Of course,
Swati is doing this?
is there any problem? It's fine
No,
now.
it's fine.
yes, fine.
And see, you can see that as all of you feel, mother is most involved, 86%. And look at father involvement. And in the previous session, I was looking grandparents' involvement, grandmother, siblings are more involved, and others 5%. We don't know who the others are. Maybe tuition teachers and everybody. Go to the next. This is the current scenario. We need to understand the scenario before we can go further. This I wanted to finish a bit fast. Can you move it faster? Later on, we'll need time. If there's a problem with PDF, okay. Sorry, there is one more. It's gone. You use the, yeah, thank you. This is like ways of working with parents. You know, there is something in the size of the presentation. Maybe if you want to use the PPT, go ahead and do that. This is a PDF version. I thought it won't get distorted, but some portions are not appearing.
Ma'am,
okay, this is fine now. Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Now it's fine. See, mostly people use individual meetings with parents and followed by group meetings. Involvement in ongoing activities and classroom, people said 60% of parents come. I really didn't understand what it meant. If there's such a high level of involvement, then it's already so good. Then knowledge sharing and motivational workshops, so many people have been using. And digital platforms, WhatsApp group and online meetings, 20 to 25% of people have responded that they're using it. It's interesting. We need to know how it works later. That'll be a poll question. Next one. And now, most important, what do you expect from the workshop? So accordingly, I have planned my workshop. C, to reflect on trends, which we already did. I presented one expectation I fulfilled. Then learn more about parent involvement and techniques, the how and why. Some aspect of it we will definitely dwell in the workshop. And like Swati said, how to involve fathers. That has moved from 38 to, I think, 42% now. And how and why of partnership for children's development. So this how and why and learning techniques will all get, everything will get integrated. And two things that came up were they want to know about success stories, what worked, and establishing positive relationship with parents, because that empathy and positivity is most important. Only when somebody trusts you and believes in you, then can you communicate and help the child and the parent? And also learn from them. It's not that it's a mutual benefit. That's very important. Next one. Some more expectations. Like what came was what is something new. I don't know if it's really new. It may be new for some people, not new for some people, because there was an open question in the end. And that open question, I think there were 67 responses, and I've tried to summarize that. Digital platforms and competitions for parents rated highest, and it should be enabling, supportive, and respectful with parents, and more alignment between ECCA and home program. This is what one of the speakers, I think Vasudevi Reddy, talked about. More than objectivity, subjectivity is important. We are all aware of it, and we want to make it happen. And some people talked of supporting parents because parents themselves are stressed. So, single parent and all other kinds of families, when they need support, is it possible for us to offer them that support? The slide sharing saw stop, but doesn't matter. I will continue. And we need to move further.
I'll just restart, ma'am. My network went off. I really apologize.
Okay, now I want to see. First, we need to understand what we mean by positive family engagement or working with parents. For that, I have a video, and before putting on the slides, I would request Bhupendra to share the video. It is, I hope that the voice
Okay.
comes better. It's not prepared by me, but it's an available video of what family engagement means. And for us, it's good to have a vision, family and community engagement for benefit of children, because that's somebody's ideal. Like we said, it's a myth this morning. It's somebody's ideal and belief. So why not see that so that we can construct our own based on that? So let's look at it and then see if we agree with that or not.
Santosh sir.
Thank you, Swati, for coming back.
Yeah, sorry. I have the video. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll play it.
For sure. Thank you for all that support.
Okay, I'm going to be sharing the screen and starting the video. Okay, just a
We often assume school is the main place that learning is going to happen. Take Esma. It used to seem to her family and her educators that Esma is always at school. Not true, it turns out. Esma and other students actually spend 82% of their waking hours at home or in their community. All those weekends, weeknights, and breaks add up. When they realized that, the educators in Esma's school district decided to work harder on making the most of the biggest partner in her learning life, her family. This can look different in every school, but for Esma's teacher, it means instead of spending his time arranging a traditional open house, he organizes grade-level parent meetings. Here, Esma's family saw data on how the class is doing in math, reading, social and emotional learning. They practiced new ways to help Esma at home and set goals for how they'll help her improve. Everyone learned from each other as the group talked about how to help the students. Also, near the start of the school year, some staff from Esma's school visited her home. They looked for the assets her family members can bring to the educational process. They learned about their languages, their culture, their lives, their world. Grandpa offered to be a resource for other English learner families, and the school also listened and learned from the family's perspective on Esma's needs. They learned how mom helps her calm down and focus. This kind of family engagement also makes it easier for the district to develop individualized education programs for students, including those in special education. The foundation is already there for families to engage in their students' academic and career planning too, making that more effective. Throughout the year, the family can attend workshops at the school on things like mental health, homework, or career exploration. Esma's mom saw those meetings on a poster in her work break room, and now she's inviting other parent friends to go with her. Esma's school district works with local businesses, places of worship, the public library, and other partners to reach students and families where they're already spending time. The school provides information frequently in a variety of ways so they can reach every family. Text messages are offered in the most common languages of local families. Esma's family gets photos from her teacher so they know what she's doing during the day. Communication between the school and the family is a group effort, focused on helping Esma achieve her learning goals. When Esma wasn't sure what to do on a science assignment, her family knew to contact the teacher for a little clarification. Educators take a positive approach as they look for solutions to any challenges experienced on either side. They're always looking for the family's strengths. Also, when mom mentions that Esma has trouble making friends, the teacher knows to refer her to the school counselor. The counselor then helps the family join a local boys and girls club with lots of activities for Esma. The teacher knew to do this because the school counselor led staff trainings on resources available in the community and how to help families access them. There's no danger of a family like Esma's ever feeling like an occasional onlooker. The school knows what families have to offer, and the family knows what's going on in the classroom and how to support it. They feel they are active and regular collaborators and decision makers. The district gives families opportunities to learn how to help children succeed at each level of the school system and to serve on school groups. At school gatherings, Esma's adult stepsister and close next-door neighbor also feel included in the community. Staff at the school are trained to be as inclusive as possible, welcoming as learning partners anyone who cares about the child. Esma's school has moved from parent involvement to family engagement. Not surprisingly, engaged families help students learn better. Staff members like their jobs better. Everyone wins. This is backed up by over 40 years of research. Students with engaged families, no matter their income, background, or culture, are more likely to do well in school, enroll in ambitious courses, graduate, and go on to post-secondary education. They also have stronger social skills and fewer disciplinary issues. So how do we make it happen? First, we work to make the shift across an entire school district. Sure, at the elementary level, Esma's classroom teacher is the main person her family interacts with at school, but as she gets older and her schooling more complex, collaboration is definitely bigger than one person. Really, all along the way, the family's interactions with pretty much everyone in connection with the school, from office staff to after-school staff, from bus drivers to principals, will need to be positive for them to truly feel welcomed. So it's a clear expectation in the district. Every employee has a role in helping every family feel connected to their child's learning, no matter what building or classroom that child attends. In Esma's district, a broad team that included school psychologists, social workers, counselors, families, general and special educators, and after-school program staff helped everyone in the school take family engagement to this next level in a way that works for their community. It worked. Esma's family feels like a valued member of the team. Esma, her family, and her educators feel confident that she's learning and happy at school. We have more information about how schools and families can effectively engage with each other around students' learning on our website.
Thank you. You can exit now and go back to the presentation. Yeah, you watched the video. So now let's go to, okay, first of all, do you want to make it happen? Just at least raise some hands so I know that you are with me and you're with it. Any hand raise? I can't see anything. Maybe that screen is not active now.
Ma'am, we want everybody to answer.
Yeah, I can see one hand go up, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so people are agreeing. So I'm very happy about that. So now we said reimagining, reshaping, all these words. So I thought this would be a just nice beginning so that this is made in the context of an early school education. But the same, I think the principles are applicable. So to make all these, we need to define our core values and our principles, which we all know and hear. So what happens is sometimes we think parents are not doing that. Like we say, father is not involved. Father doesn't come for meetings. Father, so if he doesn't come, does it mean that he is not involved? We found that even in our studies, even when father is away, military fathers, people who go on posting and everything, they're involved with their children through indirect means. So what we see and what actually happens may be different. So we have to view, you say multiple forms of wealth. What assets and what wealth does each member of the family carry? If we look at that with that lens, I think we know that everywhere we're not using in positive psychology, we're using positive models, asset based models, and not a deficit model. You all know very well. We think of child's assets, cultural assets, environmental assets. And of course, it has to be very respectful, ongoing communication, which does not hurt the self worth of a parent. Because parents are from different contexts. Some people don't know English, some people don't know the regional language, some different kinds of things are ongoing. At that time, what happens is that what we say and what we do, there has to be a complete synchrony between the two. Otherwise, I think we are too transparent, everything comes through, and unless parents see our commitment in the interest in their and their child's well-being, that doesn't work. And the partnership is for child's development. I'm reminded of a video long back which I saw where somebody used video as a communication tool in a village development program. And like how most parents, and there was an Anganwadi setting or an early child development program, and how most parents have a vision that teachers, I'm sending my child to school for learning, but teachers are not doing anything much. So my child doesn't want to go to school. And the parents, teachers felt that parents are not cooperative. So, they devised a very good technique, and they had a group discussion with all the parents about what are their issues. And they said teacher is there and everybody is interested in the child's development. And the teachers also, they conducted a group discussion and videoed the same. They did a video film of the same. And then they showed the teacher's video to the parents and the parents' video to the teachers. And they did a third video with young children who just talked of what they like and don't like in the school. So when they saw, they said, "Oh, what are we fighting for? We have our goal is same, the child." So then the cooperation between the people improved. So this is what I mean by some enabling communication. Go to the next, please. Oh, we'll wait. Doesn't matter. I'll go on. Don't want to waste time. And the second thing is when to have enabling communication, we say everybody today said there is a need for better alignment between home and school cultures. Homes are of different context. Our schools are of different context. So even earlier, all the literacy experiments have indicated early literacy that when education is rooted in child's cultural context and he or she finds it meaningful, children are eager to learn. Parents are eager to send. And if we look at parental aspirations, I have found in my studies of father involvement that even in remote tribal areas, fathers were very much interested in giving a good future to the education, and they made sure the child went to school and they knew about all the activities, and there was a project going on, but they knew about it, and fathers were quite well engaged in their children's education. And fathers were there because they were more capable of this engagement than mothers, uh, who were not very confident to communicate with the outside world. So for us, important is we need to understand, and also like one example I gave you, the other example is that grandparents are there at home, there are cultural resources, there are people who sing, who dance, who have, we say, cultural wealth, and there are ways to map the cultural capital in a community and use that to your advantage. Then we need to understand what parents expect, because if it's child's development, or sometimes they expect nashta, they expect better growth, they expect different things. So we need to understand parental expectations. And if there are any differences, we need to harmonize. I said how a particular group harmonized. We can find our own ways of harmonizing the differences according to our context, our school, because I think all of us have this, inner intuitive understanding of why is there a difference. So look at that, what you feel from inside after doing all the observations, and you will be able to understand how to harmonize. And if you as teachers form a group and use different ideas to harmonize, it'll be better. And of course, for better communication, since people have said that digital strategies are there, I want to ask now one poll question or open question, which Swati is going to put in the chat box. Swati, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. You can please, I'll do that. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, I have just asked, that are you comfortable with the digital technologies and what is people's response? So you can just answer that and we'll come back to it in the end. Next slide, please. If I'm fast, please stop me and ask me to be a bit slow because I want to have enough time for question answers at the end. Go to the next slide, please, Bhupendra.
Ma'am, on my slide is father is an important partnering parent. Can you see the same one?
No. This slide, where digital strategies are good for
Okay.
routine and thin
I'll,
communication.
if you can't see it, I'll refresh it. Just a second, ma'am.
Uh,
Can you see digital strategy?
yeah,
Oh,
I can see if the participants can see. You know what we are talking of digital strategies. Digital strategies is your messaging, your WhatsApp groups, sending videos, and most people are what to do on these digital platforms. Because if you really look into literature and research and all that, it says that the way we communicate with parents is very important. There are two types of communication. One is thick communication, which is used for problem solving, understanding each other better, some issues that require a deep engagement, which require mutuality, which require because जिसमें संवाद चाहिए. अगर प्लेनरी किया है तो फिर और संवाद जब होगा तो विवाद भी होगा. But there are other things where it is just more awareness, knowledge, information that you have to share, which people will think and reflect about on their own. That is called as thin routine communication. Because parents are very keen. Because हर बच्चा घर आता है तो फिर पेरेंट पूछती है मदर या फादर जो भी होगा स्कूल में क्या हुआ. This is the first question. और बच्चा क्या, child is very selective about communication. He will remember only things that he liked or he will remember things that he disliked and he's angry about. It's very, very emotional. But this kind of routine activities, like I have listed here, photos of child's daily activities, daily program details, any special achievement of the child, notices about upcoming events, audio video message, for non-lit, and also like somebody today said digital platforms are very good because for non-literate people you can send audio video messages, and all messages can be audio if your audience is not literate. But sometimes many people like reading because they're busy with others, so they cannot hear an audio message because of you have to decide which kind of message for what audience. So that's helpful because people love, like on an everyday, if you get it, that as because everybody has mobile phones, click a few pictures and make it a point to send it across to your group. People will love to see it and people will start commenting. You can also include that we want response from it. Then what other things? There are other things that you can use it for is we want to say we want to give parent education. I have always found that when you have these long seminars on activities and everything, one thing after the when you ask are there questions in the seminar, nobody will ask you a question in the group. And as soon as the seminar is over, seminar, workshop, whatever is over, parents are standing in a line. They will want to come and consult you individually. This happens because people shy away from public case. This is a standard practice. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to disclose about their child in public. So many issues. So what happens is you can develop short. I have developed a lot of posters, brochures, but at that time when I was very active and working, small videos we made, but we didn't have many. Now these days you can make beautiful videos. Everybody has learned it, even a child knows. So short action oriented videos of how and why of guidance on child development issues. There are several. And crisp short couplets on what not to do and why. Because not to do, you have to tell very specifically, and you have to intersperse it with why. and you relate it to events that are happening in everyday life. Don't give it as a message. If something has happened in school, if parent has asked a question, relate it to context, because always information that is given within the context is received better from parent. I can give you an example of, like, one mother will come and report to me that she and her mother-in-law had a disagreement on disciplining strategy, or father and mother had a disagreement. That is the time to communicate about consensus or our own, what do you say, you can't give contradictory messages to the child. You have to have एक सूत्रता हम बोलते हैं ना, तो उस तरह से होना चाहिए, तो so that the child understands what the message is. So something I'm giving message has to be in context. If the father comes and says, you tell him, why don't you be more important? He says that, oh, I don't have time, I'm so busy. It's at that time what the father can do in limited time. If at such time small messages go to parents, video medium, audio medium, anything, it's very, very useful. And of course, I think in Indian culture, praise is not very much accepted. So in the Western cultures, they say praise is the best currency, high value currency that will make you repeat some positive behavior. So you have to decide in your own context what works. Don't go by what I say. Because in some, I mean, I can't give a directive about this. I can only point out what is available and how you can use it. You have to judiciously use it in your own content. And there are other forms of digital platforms like pods and all, which we can discuss later. Have any responses come, Swati, for the poll? It's a good time to take up before we wind this theme.
Okay, are caregiver, parents, and teachers comfortable using the digital medium? 9% say yes, 9% say no. Majority of them say yes. The parents are comfortable. And some people say, the 3 people say very few are comfortable. So that's the number of people who said. So,
okay, so those who are not comfortable, because I'm addressing that issue first. Thanks for the poll, and I think it helps. I'm trying to make it as interactive as possible, because I'm a person who just loves mutual communication. Uh, so once in a while, if you're with me, please send some thumbs up. If you're not with me, you can send me question marks. So I'll get a better feedback. Mm. When you say most people are comfortable. So those who are not comfortable, you have to find out, is it that they don't know how to operate the digital media, or is it that they don't have time, uh, or that they feel like, some people, like when you say, I said moderately involved and 20% are low involved, 20. If it is just that 20%, we can ignore, because we can work on the 50%, and those assets will then create the ripple effect. Because when parents, so if they are not doing it, you can ask some response, and you say, discuss with your neighbors. If it's a community, you can say, watch this video collectively and send me your responses. Or if you have sent a video, or if you've sent a message, you can send a next message saying what do you feel, because a lot of times these WhatsApp groups only admin can post, others cannot post, because you have to see that negative discussion doesn't occur. But I think you can keep the platform open for a day to receive responses, then again close it. It's how you deal with it. Because I know that all the time, if you have 40 parents responding every day, you will go mad. So it's a good thing that people are this. So are you willing to try this? If you are, again, hands, thumbs up. Some of you are trying, but that's only 20%. This trying group has to go up to 80% in post-pandemic. Will you try? If yes, only one hand up. Others, and I'm looking forward to more and more videos being posted on ACD websites, because all of you can make, you're also such experts in guiding children, what to do and what not to do. So make like little video clips, audio clips, etc. And I think that will work. Mm, Now we are moving on to the desire expressed by, I mean, these are some ideas. We can go further and you can post, we can have a question discussion session. Now, father, I call him the neglected parent, the parent who has a lot of authority in decision making. But I don't know, ECC sector has neglected men's participation and father's participation. I don't know if it is neglect or this. When I said I was hoping that more and more, and when I said 87% said who's more involved. So, do you think that you're comfortable in making the father involved? Do you want more involvement from the father, or do you think he will be a nuisance? If you is there is no thumbs down, na? If you think father is an asset, we should have asked this question in poll. This asset has to be harnessed, because I have written a whole chapter on assessing, harnessing fathering potential to uh, enhance early child development. Oh, that's great. Teachers in government schools have been, yeah, we see more father involvement, but what kind of involvement is very, very important. So, why father should be involved? We should answer that question first. Some thumbs ups have come, but not many. Since that's the theme, and 40% want to know more about father involvement, I'm going to go ahead with, at least we should understand at the knowledge level and strategy level what we have tried out. So, sharing that with you, our own experiments. Yeah, very true, because they are decision makers and they influence. That is one very, very, and also they are providers. What kind of providers is very important. And because research, last, I think, research on father involvement, the first book was by Michael Lamb, but later on, world over, yeah, more and more fathers are involved in cities like Mumbai and other small places. I found that even in the remote village of Orissa, fathers were involved, tribal areas, but in education. What they're involved? Because I want to say one thing. When we think of involvement, we think of childcare as a very small activity. That's our conception. Because involvement is a very broad activity. It has a cognitive component, it has an affective component, it has the practical component. We look at only the practical component, which is feeding the child, changing nappies, and all that. That's in infancy. But there is the affective and cognitive component. The father thinks about the child, is attached to the child, he provides for the child, he plays with the child, he does many things. That's not the father's deficit, but it's the way the society is designed. And all research has shown that father, like I have asked a question to everybody when I start father involvement workshops, my favorite question is, can father be like a mother? And everybody says no first. Then the arguments develop, and finally they agree. We come to a conclusion that father can do everything, because it's a discussion and I steer the questions one after the other. And parents think that, oh, father can do everything except for breastfeeding the child. And I know one person, somebody once, dear Monisha, who's not here, once she had shared with me that her brother had tried to simulate a very similar environment to feed the child in the absence of the mother. So people are doing lots of experiments. So father nurture is very high. And when they're attached to the child and care for the child, they secrete similar hormones. And studies have shown that research on stay-home fathers, where they have father leave and everything in different countries, in 14 countries of the world, have shown that fathers become more like mothers in their caring and nurturing tendencies when they start caring for the child. And they develop many, many skills. This is good news for all of us. And we say involved, we say the macho man. And being so patriarchal and uninvolved and doesn't not having skills is not beneficial to the man. We say one human tendency, which is the generative potential. That is, you want to nurture the next generation, you want to spread love, compassion, and all the caring tendencies, which is good, which is a higher level of development. The father, if he's not involved, society doesn't give him a chance to develop it. Is that right? So we as people have to help him reach his best as human development people. So there is research and theories that say that fathering helps a man's own development. And when fathers are encouraged, when he becomes more nurturant, his aggressive tendencies reduce. It reduces violence on children and women and helps in achieving gender equality. Because there is research that says that women become empowered, then fathers have more true. So we have equal pressures. I don't say mothers don't have pressures, but society expects mothers to do something. It is not about who's better, who is doing this, but at present, we want the father to be more involved. So, how to steer towards this involvement? So, ultimately, what happens? Mothers also own up a lot. Like, you think I know better, I can do it better. So, that's called as maternal gatekeeping. So, we have to move away from, of course, socialization has a role to play. That's what I'm talking about. We are all products of society, and we are socialized to think in certain ways. And like so many times, every time I tell my husband, you don't know how to cook or feed children, I feel guilty. But that's the fact. Then I correct myself and say, okay, I'll do that, but you do something else. So
Ma'am,
his
one
next
thing
point
I would
is,
like to mark out. Please, sorry for
yeah,
this. I think this is a very interesting thing. The question answered it. Do you think nuclear families provide opportunities for father engagement?
both families can provide, but in our studies, we found that in joint families, when there are more people, and according to the norms, there is less chance for fathers to be engaged. But involved fathers also came from nuclear families, because we did another study with 30 involved fathers, and I was trying to see that are they all from nuclear families. No, there were people from extended families also, but as a factor, nuclear families with mothers who are working is one end which provides maximum opportunities for father's involvement. But it's not a given. Okay, go to the next slide. Have I answered your question?
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am, I just wanted to summarize the poll for you. Why fathers should be involved? No, nobody feels that they no longer neglected parents. Their decision makers is the least, but the maximum votes are children need both parents' involvement to flourish.
Yes,
So,
very, very true. Children need, because they bring different assets to the child's well being. So we need assets of both, and this is called as co parenting or shared parenting. It's not about who's more important or who's more involved, but we need to encourage, because you say only 5% of father involvement in our responses is not good. If we believe so, then we must make it happen. How to make it happen is the next section. Go to the next slide. Great, Swati. Thank you. Because if we believe, then we will work towards it. Next slide. I don't know whether to tell Swati or Bhupendra, but both are listening, so it's okay. Is there a problem with the slide movement? I can go on. No need to stop. The slide will come. Okay, now you know how to, there are things of what are the advantages of father involvement. We said assets. So we're talking of father as an asset. Father, we know that multiple attachments are better for children than a single attachment, because when there are multiple attachments, they have more security. So father's attachment is helpful to increase the sense of security for the child. If the mother is not there, the father is there. Even if the grandparent is there, presence of the father gives a different sense of security. So security encourages exploratory behavior. learning and social competence, beginning from infancy. Today, infancy, we saw in the plenary that how much an infant is capable of. So even there are programs that encourage father involvement from prenatal. I think it's highest in Australia, but even in India, in Pune and all that, uh, there are some Lonavala mein hai Garbh Sanskar program karke. Some doctors and Vedic specialists conduct this program. Then we say father play, which is rough and tumble, locomotor, and puzzle oriented, relates to positive cognitive outcomes in children. This is based on series and series of research, Western research and research in other countries, because in India we've had some studies of father play, father time, and all that in Delhi Lady Irwin College and its impact. And it says fathers are equally powerful as much as the mothers in working families. And of course, initiation of ideas about shared gender roles. And these pictures are all I want to acknowledge are fathers with whom we have worked and given programs, and they cooperated and they wanted that their pictures can be clicked and posted and used anywhere. And very important is that uh, we have many perspectives, negatives, effects of stress. Fathers are good with daughters and uh, you know mothers with sons. Of course, we have all these theories, but we found that daughter has special benefits when her father is involved, because I analyzed a series of about 76 essays written by daughters on their fathers involvement, successful daughters. And in these essays, they are actresses, writers, poets, people working in corporate sector, disabled women, all kinds of women. And I'll tell you these stories, these essays were in Marathi, Gujarati, and English, from a time period of women born in maybe early 90s to women born in 1952, 54, 56, and things like that. And they all felt, and I have titled this chapter, Daddy, You Showed Me the Ways of the World. So identity formation, social competence, and they are gate openers for the daughters in many cases. So it is very crucial. And even sons, they become confident children. Children are more definitely confident and may have better social competence and academic achievement and all that in later years after father involvement. And in all low income studies or in stress effects, we talk of brain architecture and everything. So attachment and positive father influence reduces the negative effects of stress in early childhood. That's very important. And experiments in community settings all over the world, programs have proved this. Even in prisons, when fathers meet children, the effect on children is different. I have a whole lot of studies, and on this, there's no time to share. Those who are interested can mail me and I'll share with you. Next one, how to encourage father's involvement. Now, this is, are you doing it? Can you do it? Next slide. I can even start talking. You can go and, it is something is us and something, the way our early childhood environment is structured. I remember the debate in 1974 was, I learned about this debate only in the 80s. Because 1974, I was still a student. And that is, why can't fathers be appointed as teachers in early childhood? This was one in a conference. A man stood up and asked, why am I not getting a job? So what do we do? How to encourage fathers? Because fathers often come to drop and pick up children when there are no rickshawalas, when there are no others, because they drive vehicles. Now mothers may be coming and doing this job, but that's an opportunity for informal, friendly conversations about the child and the father's role. Do we use that opportunity? It's left to us. Little things every day. Appreciate, encourage, talk to him, something about the child, something about himself, because I have noted that fathers like to be noticed, because all conversation about children are generally held with mothers. Women have a natural tendency to talk about their children. Fathers are more about jokes, work, and everything. That's the social environment. But if you talk to a father, He says, my deepest love is my child, and nobody talks to me about the child. All my interviews, hundreds of fathers whom I have talked to say that child is my precious possession and I'm happy. And some fathers, when they start talking about their parenting and child, they start crying. So the emotions of the father are also high, it's only not expressed. So informal conversations are helpful. And you recognize and appreciate, because most of the time we say what fathers don't do and pay less attention to what they do. If we pay attention to what they do, and also do we request children to do things with their fathers, some text is missing there, maybe my problem, and share the experience in class. Yes, in Australia, even in America now, there are a lot of early childhood educators, men, and I know so many men who are working in early childhood. That's great. I'm looking at questions and responding also. I'm sorry about it. Don't get distracted, because every time a question appears, I'm curious to see it. So then, we found that when we give activities to children and say, tomorrow you read a book with your father and come to clues. We experimented this. We told teachers and that can you do it? So children actually go and ask their fathers to do the activity because they want to speak in class next day in the group meeting or discussion. So little things. Go and see a plant with your father. Go and do some all your activities. Now, if you earmark it to the father, more chances that it will happen and father will make time. And so many ways you can involve the father very informally. It's not like, it's almost effortless. And we did all these activities, what I've listed, and in Shishupalakran, in the classroom, all that, we have done all these activities. Yeah, this is a very great topic. Yeah, Nandita, you have written about it, and I have marked this that fathers leave when women come because we are women and they don't speak about it and they don't want to be because it is they shy away. I have noticed, and this is in some selected parts of India, more often in the northern region. Even within families, when women are eating, women are doing, they want to, it's a more guarded space, so fathers leave. It's a very important aspect to be noted. But in school setting, I think this is likely to happen less, and that's why the next is, do we assess how father friendly is our institution and its setup? Thank you for drawing that to my attention, bringing it on stage. Okay, so another things which we have done here is all what we developed and shared with parents. Action oriented posters. Action oriented, why I'm saying, is no big theories. You convert because it is subjective feeling, subjective expression. So we actually talked to fathers, worked with them, and developed these posters in consultation with them, and recognizing their feelings, their involvement. So I'm just giving you some examples. And those of you who want to engage in father involvement, I will share all resources for you without inhibition. They don't have any copyright. They just have to be used and we have to move further. So I will show you some posters later. And we developed various kinds of brochures. Again, I said, consider father as an asset. Don't talk about what fathers don't do, but encourage him of how he can be involved. Even 15 minutes of time is enough. Can you go back to the previous? I had put two things there. This is poster. You can show this. You can show the posters now, and we'll go back to the slide if it's not a problem. See, we developed a set of 20 posters, Joys of Responsible Fathering, the Reflective Journey. And go to the next. It is, I'll tell you how these posters are interactive and encourage the fathers. Go to the next one, next poster. This is just the title poster, and the poster exhibition or sharing is done. So here, see, it's all in first person. You talk of what happens and then what effect it has. And this is a person known to me. And we have I am, software engineer, and how he learned. And today, this father, this is done a few years ago. Today, this father, his daughter is 12 years old. This is when his daughter was mm, 1.5 year, 1 year old or a less than that, and he was caring more. He wanted to learn everything. And today, he says, I want to stay home with my children. I mean, he works from home and he is a hands on father with children, caring for both his children, and he loves doing that. And he combines work also, but he's adopted. He says, I've detached my earning money and doing work successfully because of my children. Go to the next poster. Swati or Bhupendra, can you move to the next poster? Okay. I'll just talk to you about what the next poster is talking, because I don't know which one it is.
Providing toys and materials is not enough. I'm sorry,
See,
can't you see it? Are you not able to see the poster, ma'am? Providing toys and materials is
I
not
can,
enough.
I
Okay,
can't
I'll
see
just
that because
okay, ma'am, doesn't matter. I'm just refreshing it. Give me 1 minute. Yes? Just a second.
yeah, see, there is the next one is I'm a research chemist in a private firm, and I have a hectic work schedule. Spending time with my child not only fulfills her need, but also a stress buster for me. This has become my priority, and my family appreciates me. Yeah, this one. Thank you. You can just run over these. You can show the next also because it's all very personal. It's not like, but this is drawn from a lot of research and personal interactions with fathers. It's not like out of the sky or out of the blue. It's very hands on and
Can I go to the
very
next one?
research.
Can I?
Yeah, this is providing toys and materials is not enough. My presence increases values of toys and materials. I never realized this before. Go to the next. And this is a person who works as a peon and he integrates, we were just kind of, because he works in my department, we gave a lot of opportunities. So he so beautifully, because he's committed to children, he integrates his work and his work routine. He works from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m., but his children are his priority. And he takes his children when they were younger on bike, and he would bring them to work and do all kinds of things. I have his pictures. बच्चे को कुर्सी पे वहीं बिठा देगा और कॉरिडोर में झाड़ू लगाते रहेगा और बात करते रहेगा. Such beautiful ways. But only we have to recognize and appreciate it. And that's important. Now go back to that poster of writing blogs. Just one more which we experimented and it worked well. Mm, there is, I mean, even if you don't go back, it's okay. I can share. What we did was that in schools we had workshops for teachers and parents. Many teachers were also fathers. They were early childhood personnel. And in that case, we said is write a story, write an essay, write anything about fathers. And we published in Gujarati a little book. I think it's about 40 pages called Pitritvana Panthe, is on the path of fathering and father's experience. So you can use this in several formats, blogs, because they feel extremely emotional. And one person also talked of, his imagination of walking in a garden, and one father walking in a garden. He was a teacher also, and walking in a garden and seeing a child lying on the bench. He picked up that child. This child was disabled. How his nurturing instinct, he writes a story about how his nurturing instinct was awakened, and he decided to foster and nurture that child, and how the child grew up and all. And another thing I do in my workshops is inventing stories about father involvement. We have yes I'll come back to that. There's a question: do our corporates value fathers involvement? I have done workshops in corporate for fathers involvement. But they corporates don't recognize the family role at all of an individual. That's a different story. We have to. So when we talk of writing blogs, essays, we did another experiment, with children. and training early childhood teachers. So develop stories, and also for younger children, where I invented a story where it said that, like, a village name, a child goes to a father and then he says that my village's name is being changed from Rupapura to Pappapura, and therefore there is a function to change the name of the village. The panchayat and the school authorities have called families to come to my school. So the father goes, and I have created the story on a ride. हमारा वो जो pumpkin का story है ना, चल रहे तुमड़ा तुड़ुक तुड़ुक, that wala. So taking the tone of that story, I've created how he meets a rat, how he meets all the animals and different people on the road, and everybody is talking about. Uh, so everybody is talking about how father involvement's better. Involves this whole, na, I said it is beneficial for the child. So what happens when fathers get involved? The whole village gets transformed. That's a story, children's story, and sometimes a drama is done on that. And there are many people, like, we have done in the workshop. People create a teachers workshop. People create a drama on what happens when father is involved after they understand role plays. So it's all very interesting when it unfolds on the field, and it's so, I like become so enthusiastic in those, and you see there's a lot of hope for change. So you can experiment different strategies. What works for you is best. So let's go to the last one, because I'm looking at time. Competitions. People had asked about it. What kind of competitions did we do? Can you go to that slide? I don't know the number.
I
I
put
think it
competition.
is,
Yeah,
yeah,
I put it on.
competitions. No, it's not showing on mine.
Don't worry, I'll just
It's
start and
fine for
stop
me.
again. I'll start and stop again. You continue.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah, yeah. See, we all strategies where everything happens automatically. Automatically, in the sense, when you say these all motivational seminars, workshops, and all, over the years with experience, I'm fed up of anything where one person talks and the other listens. Now that's what we are doing, unfortunately. But that's not the best method. When you have competitions, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of enthusiasm. Of course, there is work, but it's a lot of fun. We do competitions on their own, or combine it with a mela or fair or open house in a school. In the ECC center, school I mean is our preschool, or whichever centers we are part of. You can do it anywhere. Something emerges. If you want to use that opportunity, you do it. But for me, every day is Father's Day. So, what things we tried were tell a story to your child or children, get your child ready to demonstrate. You can ask fathers to do videos about it and send to you if you want to use the digital platform. Play with your child for half an hour without toys. These are all young children, infants, or preschoolers. Support your child in the playground. You can have quiz competition about how much knowledge about their child they have. You can have a quiz or written quiz, oral quiz, anything can be there. And we have tried it in a parent workshop. Once Reliance had called us for a workshop for their school in Surat. And there were big groups of 180 parents. Even there, we created some quiz competitions for parents because they chose the participants, and we made 3 groups and did that. There was so much fun. And so, about guiding children, you decide what theme you want to focus depending on the context. I have given just some examples here of what we have tried out. You can have story competition, you can have essay competition, you can have several things. You can have video making competition, you can have photograph competitions of all fathers about their children and with their children. Or you can even have a competition of what mothers do and how they contribute to child well being. So, do fathers notice mothers' contribution? Then they have to be more involved. So, you can even ask fathers about, do they have space for participating, or what are the barriers that they have in participating? So, several thoughts can be there. Now, I have some pictures for you to see. Go to the next 2 slides. They're just pictures of fathers and children in our competitions, just to show you that I did it. I'm not bluffing. Just 1 minute. Playing on the ground, you know how fathers support. And we notice the most important thing. Yeah, just look at the pictures, that's enough. They're real, no? I'm not bluffing. Go down. Hmm. You want to see pictures? So fathers were innovative and good with whatever materials were there. They did it. And what happened during the competitions? The next, great, that is when you're scrolling. See, the child is not eating and the father doesn't know how to feed the child. There were more, I couldn't find those pictures. You know, father trying to help the child put on the shoes, whether he gives independence to the child. Just scroll a bit down. So we said, what happened during the competitions? A lot of enthusiasm and positive energy, opportunity to showcase one's talent and assets, maybe first time. And then mothers were so excited. They were observing the fathers, mothers and grandmothers were so excited because we told them, you can't do anything, you're just onlookers. And the way they were teasing, appreciating the desire in the father to do his best, subject to mothers and others' gaze, So father, like some people feel shy, some people feel conscious because then otherwise we have this whole thing now that father should not do anything in visibility. Many fathers do lots of things at home, but they don't show it to the world. Otherwise, they'll be called henpecked. So whatever. And here, what's very, very important. That's why I like this strategy, because you don't have to give any long lectures. The judge's role is very, very important. Just down a little. Huh. Debriefing and judges' role is very important. We have judges for all competitions. So we call, who you call is very important. We call psychologists, child development experts, hands-on fathers, involved fathers who are good, so that there is a variety. 3, 4 people, and they offer, like, people who win and people who lose, and after the time, why somebody got a prize, why somebody did something. So all things are explained. So in this process, our entire child development theory and guidance strategies, everything gets communicated to fathers. It's very small, but then after the event, you can see parents discussing, sahi kaha na, bahut achhi baat hai, humne iske bare mein socha hi nahi tha. And it's a very, very respectful way of communication, where you will have that. So this is the last slide. There are others. If there is time, I can show you what other things we have done. I've just focused on that in the interest of time, because we must have some time for question. uh, we can come. You want to show this, Swati? Where is I
Yeah,
put that as the last slide, and when questions are there, we can do this.
I'm
You
showing
want
it,
me to do the board?
but I'm showing it because this is interesting. Pod is something that people don't know, so I'm asking for the audience to be kind to allow me to show it. So maybe not explain it, but at least they
Okay.
need it.
Okay, because I have not done actually pod with fathers, because by the time I learned and got involved in pods, um, I'm like, not doing too much of interventions myself now. I guide other people, but I think this is a very, very lovely experience. I'll tell you what it is. We don't have to see the slide. A pod is a format where people enroll voluntarily, uh, for it's like a little course. And in a pod week, I'm involved in some other thing. You're not necessarily a leader. You have to be a, what I call, in doing all these activities, I would like to call myself a ladder and not a leader. What's the difference between the two? A ladder is the one who supports from behind the development of a person. We call it, I don't know, involved leadership, or some other name is there for that, where the person is a very enabling person. And some chat message appeared which I couldn't see. Swati, you can. The person is an enabler. He will support you like a ladder. If you want to climb, I will hold the ladder for you. So it's an intimate group. Like if their fathers are there, mothers are there, you can use this as a format. online intimate group, and in pods you can have smaller groups, breakout rooms, and everything where people can discuss. It's an online intimate group with a code of conduct, where code of conduct is very important because uh, you cannot criticize the other. You have to be an enabler to the other. You have to, so it's, we say collective intelligence is better than individual intelligence. It gives a lot of opportunity. It's entirely planned, but there is lot of scope for emergence. What is emergence? As you discuss in a group, new and new things emerge. I have a lot of belief in emergence, because when we say all bottom up approaches, you plan everything totally, but ultimately what happens sometime may be totally different, but you reach your goal. The path becomes different. The path is very user friendly, decided by the people who are involved. So it is. And again, I told you, head, heart, hands approach is what I like. I mean, is it's not self centered. I feel it brings the best results because, and Devdatji told today so beautifully, तुम्हारे सारे कोश और चित्त, emotions and everything go, body, mind, and uh, emotions. It integrates everything. So this is we are human beings, and this integrated approach brings best results. So this is something which we have to keep in mind. It's not only that I gave knowledge he's not doing. Behavior change is very, very difficult. Value change is even more difficult. But we have to engage with it and do it in our little ways. If we are committed to reach out, we will make it happen. So facilitators here, you can post readings, you can post videos, you can post like hands-on activities, do something like, don't get angry on your child today, irrespective of what the situation
Mom,
is.
can I please, for the paucity of time, can I ask you to be a little faster on the last?
Yeah,
So,
I'm done. Okay, I'm done. So I'm just saying is, in you have, and then everybody responds. When everybody responds, don't go for all this, because these most people do. I don't want to. I had just put it that if people ask questions, we can do. I don't want to go in for this. Just
ma'am,
change. Go to the
can
last.
you see the screen? Mela says
Yeah,
Carnival.
yeah, I can see. I'm not seeing because most people do these open houses and everything, different ways. So outcomes also are there. Joint problem solving corners. People can see we've done all this. So they bring very good results. And even for father, we integrate even competitions along with this. So I'm saying pods is a new way. If you want to try out, only you need good tech support. That's all. Live pods, you can even do it online, are good, but people have to enroll with willingness, and you have to specify the time, 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week, whatever you want them to engage for. Go to my thank you slide, which is somewhere in between, because all this was not included in today's talk, but they were there in the presentation. I removed them for lack of time, but Swanti wanted to show because they were there. Thank you, Swati. You can go. So, thank you so much for partnership, and we will partner. And I'll be a partner who's available for you for anything you want to try. I will
That's
send my.
so kind, ma'am. That's so
Oh, you
kind.
can, and I'm so happy to. I'll be happy to share resources, my brochures, my posters, everything. You can freely duplicate, translate, whatever you want, because a lot of work has gone into them. And I want you to be able to use it. Just send me your email with your purpose, and only they have to be acknowledged. That's all. So, your questions, please. We should have some questions. Otherwise, it's very sad. I'm not answering your questions. And
Thank
I
you,
know
ma'am,
that is
Dr. Rajalaxmi, for such an interactive session. I think technology let us down, but we were on air. I think there was no goofy movements, and I'm really thanking you, the audience, for being so interactive and so much fun. If you have a question, I'm going to do one thing. Just raise your hand. I'll see the attendee list and I'll get you. If you wave your hand, I'll get you on the stage because ma'am has already answered questions of the question and answer box, but I'll take one or two which I feel are very
no.
critical. Uh, uh, what do you call one question which ma'am I want you to ask is how do you see the corporates and offices recognizing fathers' availability and presence in children's lives? I think that is
Actually,
very important.
the corporate, one thing I can tell you, some corporates, whether it is for a decorative purpose or whatever, they have recognized and give paternity leave from 1 to 15 days for the father. Sometimes corporates don't, who society doesn't value fathers. Play why talk of corporates?
May
If
I
you're
say
just
add
thinking,
something here, ma'am? May I add something
yeah,
here
sure.
with the public, the private companies being forced to open creches in their offices. The parent father involvement because they can come and see, and sometimes the creche is not there in the father's office, a mother's office. It's there in the mother's office or whatever.
Father.
So because the father's office has the creche, the fathers develop that bond because they come and check on their child and
Great. If that happens, I think creches should be put in father, irrespective of the office, whichever is closer to the child, because child well-being is important. If father
and
travels a lot, that's not correct. But there are, there's this person, Riddhi Sethi, I think, who's in Delhi. She did a lot of studies on corporate sector and a daycare facility for them, and she will be the best person to contribute to what happened. And I've seen her results, and it is helping children's development. But I have tried to conduct some programs, but I think in HR, even work family balance ke broad term mein, we have to create this space. Whoever is wanting to go, I'll give you my presentations on father involvement. I've done in medical colleges with students, with professionals, whichever forum is possible. I've done these workshops and seminars.
thank you,
uh,
Dr. Rajlaxmi. I think everybody is saying thank you, ma'am. Though I've said that you can raise your hand, emoticon. I'll get you on the stage to ask, but I think so. I
It's so
Most
late.
of the
Everybody
time.
is hungry. Hungry for dinner.
No, but I think you did an amazing thing by answering questions as they were being raised. But it still leaves that the government and the organization has to allow ICDS for early childcare educators to become male for the fathers to be also included in that. I somehow feel this is something which I feel
Uh,
maybe, ma'am, you can answer that parents when they find out the early educator is a male do not take it very kindly. They want lady
no,
teachers, they
because we
want.
have none. That's what I'm seeing. Data says that fathers are, there is so 40% of women face violence. The negative side of father, they, for obvious reasons, gets promoted. So I decided in my life that I am going to work on the positive, because the best role of a man comes up in his fathering. So I said
And
I'll focus, because for gender equality, you have to bring both the sides together. But risk, risk, because this whole thing is women are natural caretakers, women are like that. So, but we have to, there are also this Radhika Gupta's book on, she has studied, like, there's one person in Delhi who's done work on men in engaging professions. Okay.
okay. Ma'am,
So
here I would like to
it's
share is
good.
that I think ICDS inform appointing women, which is I think so Bhupendra Shanley, who's also a host and works with Mobile Crash, and feels very strongly about it that ICDS appoints only women as Anganwadi workers. I don't think so Rajlakshmi ma'am can answer for ICDS, but would you like to take a try?
No, no, I am saying is that we have to open up all spaces. If it's gender equal, then everybody who's nurturant. Because earlier, like, you say man has to work, woman has to stay at home. That is changing in Australia, in Canada, and all that, where they think if women are more competent and bring more money, they will work. I'm sorry if my voice is very loud. I
No,
think you
ma'am, we
have
can
it
at least
problem.
hear you. It's okay. It's better to be loud than not to be inaudible. So I think amazing session. We learned such a lot. Thank you for making it interactive, and thank you, audience, for being so responsive and staying with us so late. I really, really
Tell
appreciate.
me how many people were there in the workshop. I'm just curious.
On and off, they were 40, 35, 40 all the time. So we did have
Okay.
all of them, and some of them stayed all the time. And we have had people. I would like to thank Nandita Chaudhary, ma'am, for being there and responding
Yeah,
all the
yeah, I saw.
time. Everybody has been amazing. Thank you, Sultana. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Sheetal. Thank you, Pravi. I can't take everybody's names, but I wish we had started on time, and I'm sure there would have been more. We have managed to record your session. Oh, ma'am, you could not. I'm not a star. It's all Rajalaxmi, ma'am. We've managed to record your session, and we will tell you how we'll be sharing it, audience. But thank you for being so appreciative, and thank you for being a powerhouse, Dr. Rajalaxmi. You're just amazing. Thank you very much. And thank you, Bhupendra, for not only being a host and a volunteer, but also interacting as an audience. And audience, you've been lovely. I love you. I just enjoyed. This was so nice after glitches in the previous session to have one where we just sailed through. I
Yeah, it
really
was so smooth.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And you
I
can
will.
post it on the website. I'm committed,
I will
and
let
I'm
you
saying
know
that
when
I
we
will
are good.
share all my resources. Those who
Thanks.
want to do and post, I mean, later on we can send my email. I'll send a mail to you. You can forward it to all participants.
If the audience wants to know what we are doing with the recordings or how they can get access or how they can get through the resources, you need to follow our Facebook page, AECD, as well as become AECD members. And with that, I
Yeah.
thank Dr. Rajalaxmi Shriram and Mr. Bhupen Chandlia and all the audience before I log off from this session. Bye bye. Have a nice day. See you
Thank you.
tomorrow
See you
at
tomorrow.
2:45. And Dr. Rajalaxmi, please join us for other sessions tomorrow
Oh,
and
yes, I'm looking
interact.
forward to it today only. And do something, Swati. When the session is on, and if we get logged out, if the time is up, we are not able to
Ma'am,
rejoin
sometimes
that
the
session.
teething troubles happen, but I think so. The first 1 hour was bad. I really, really apologize. But
No,
I
no,
think so.
not like that. Not first one, even second one when it was all ongoing. I had to
Only,
exit.
only one thing. If you ever get logged off, like I got in between, my screen froze. Just refresh your session or leave and come back. It hardly takes a minute. I'm sure you didn't
No, no,
realize I
I
had
did
left
all
and
that. I did
yeah.
all that, but the
Kindly
finished
just end the
sessions don't show
session.
up. We'll do it. We'll do it. Thank you so much for all the support, assistance, and being so kind.
Thank you, ma'am.
Being a lovely host. Bye. Now relax and have a good day and be fresh for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you
Thank you,
need
and please
any
all of you
background
judge.
assistance, I'll be happy to
Yes,
volunteer if you need any assistance. Free of
yes, ma'am. I will get back.
no strings
Thank you.
attached anytime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.